Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. There was a time in the channeling process where my partner was not involved to the degree he is now. The new phrase we use is he steps aside. He's still here. It is not a takeover. And for those who would hear this and think it was odd and mysterious and spooky, I would like to give you the information that the indigenous of the planet understood this and did it. There were names for it, ceremonies for it. And it wasn't until you got modern that those things went away. This process is natural. And what you see here is my partner stepping aside so I can deliver a message that is going to go to many. But the process is designed for one, you. The process is designed so that you could open up and communicate to that entity which is your higher self, and we're going to talk about that in a moment, and that would be channeling at its highest level. There'll come a time when this isn't needed anymore. Things change. Humanity changes. And the evolvement of the human spirit will eventually come to a place where humanity will be given messages because their pineal is open for them. And they won't have odd names, and they won't have entities you don't recognize, or magnetic masters. They'll be you with you. And it'll feel like this does, and that is to say, messages from home. Benevolent, beautiful messages from home. I know who's here, and what I'm going to give next is fun for me. These channelings are not endurance events. I will give the information that I wish to give and back away. There have been many messages in the past about what I'm going to talk about, but never consolidated in this way. The demystification of esoteric belief and New Age is at hand, so it makes some more common sense. And the things that I'm going to tell you now, you may disagree with because you've been trained otherwise, or perhaps the tradition is different than what I'm going to tell you. So if it is different, I wish for you to at least weigh them and not judge them. And weigh them with your intuition. Could it be so? Is it right? It may be different than you think. You fight a tradition of hand-me-down information from one person to another, and one will enhance it, make it different, and it'll stick. And then the generation will say the same thing, and that'll change a little, and that'll stick. And then sometimes you end up with misinformation about beautiful things. So let's talk about those beautiful things. Humans. Dear ones, I've never been a human. You have no idea the awe that I hold for you. The soup of God is compartmentalized to some degree when it comes to service. It has to be. Not as you would think, but the pieces and the parts that become human on various planets through billions of years are a select group, and that's what you do. We're going to talk about souls, higher self. We're going to talk about angels and guides. That's all we're going to talk about. But even before I begin, I want you to see the lineage of your service. It did not start here. This has been going on a very long time. Our last messages talked about it. This planet, as you see it now, as you work the puzzle here, old soul, is one of many that you have worked the puzzle upon. And in your Akash, some of you carry that which you've done before on other planets, seemingly very similar, and it would be, and it is. You were human on all of them. And here you are yet again. I've never participated in any. I'm what you call a helper. And today I'm Kryon, and another planet I'll be something else. And I'll always be with you. And you have seen me before. Some of you heard the voice of my partner or read the words, and there was something that rang with truth beyond that which you've experienced in this life. You recognized me. And it wasn't from this planet, dear one, because you've been through this before, and you knew I was all right, and you knew I love you. And you know my hand was out as that from Spirit, giving you information that would do only benevolent things in your life, and you could trust it. Because I would never give you information that would hurt your heart or take you in the wrong direction, planet after planet. Now that is an Akashic remembrance that the old souls in this room, some of you, have. Some of you listening to this channel will now have it explained why when you opened the book and read the words, something jumped out at the page and you felt it in your heart and you said, I remember this. And some of you wept, not with the information, but the perception of remembering. And it wasn't here. Because you've done this before. You've done this before. Corporally, very similar. Feels very much like before. Old souls in this room have spent lifetime after lifetime on this planet, and you're used to it. But there was another planet before this, and before that, and before that. You're a part of the creative source, every single one. Let's talk about souls. What is a soul? The word soul is used by mainstream humanity, no matter what their belief system, even if they have no belief system. They talk about souls. Isn't it interesting that humanity knows what a soul is without ever pretending to believe that you have one? They know what it is. So common is it, mariners of old would report how many souls on board instead of how many humans on board. It's become vernacular, describing that which is the spiritual essence of a human being, a soul. In some systems, the soul is here one time on the planet and never again. In other belief systems, it comes over and over. But it doesn't matter. In every single case, the soul represents that piece of the human body which resounds to God. And in the mainstream belief, it is mainly a four-dimensional, or what you have called a three-dimensional perception. A soul is a singular entity that belongs to the human whose face is in the mirror. And when you die, it goes with you somewhere else. And in some belief systems, it comes back. And that's simple and incorrect. But it's okay. If I said to you, you have to walk before you run, you understand what the evolutionary process is of perceptions, thinking, spirituality. It's okay. But it's far more than that. When you talk about New Age and esoterics, those are used to mean the same thing. And we have said this before, but for this group, I tell you that the word New Age in certain circles is a cult word, and so we don't use it. We use esoterics. They are used interchangeable. New Age and esoterics means a belief system that is unique on the planet like no other system has ever been. And we repeat what we said last time. It is a system that has no book that is central, and there's no prophet, and there's no place where it exists. There's no place to report. There's no roles. There's no rules. There's no membership. What a system. And it's out of the perception of any organized religion because it has no organization, and yet, all over the world, by the millions, if you were to get the people together and ask them what they believe, they would have a central core belief that God is inside, that you come around and live many lifetimes, and that you are part of the spiritual evolution of Earth. That you were seated by the Pleiadians, and they're still here. That there is a purpose to your life, and you are here in a benevolent way to help other humanity and create peace on Earth. Isn't it interesting, dear one, that there's no central prophet? But there is. What mainstream would call a soul, you call the higher self. Use them interchangeable because that is what we teach. Except the higher self now has a personality. It is a piece of God that it has your face on it on the other side of the veil. And it is the prophet. Well, the higher self contains the template of rules, if you want to call them that. They're not rules. They're concepts. The concepts of past life experience, of Akash. The concepts of the angels and the guides around you. The concepts of who you are, where you're going, why you're here, how you exist, is the template of the higher self. And so this explains what it is, and it is not above you as higher, it vibrates higher. And that is how it got its name. And the entire purpose of esoteric belief is for you to take the hand of the higher self, if you can, and pull it towards yourself so you can discover more about the template. Would it be nice to take the hand of God every day of your life when you awaken and walk through life with knowledge that you could only have that way? And the answer is yes, and that is what you believe. That is the New Age. That is esoteric belief. The attempt of getting in touch with the God that is in you. The masters of the earth all spoke of the God inside, all of them. The New Age belief system believes that all of the masters were valid, were here for that message, not necessarily to be worshipped. Some of the masters even referred to the other ones. They didn't isolate them and worship them. They didn't build churches around them and say you were wrong if you disagreed. So there is no evangelistic thrust in the New Age. None. And if you find somebody who's trying to, they're not New Age. They have something of their own they've decided to put in a box and enlist your membership. They're not the esoterics that we are speaking of. No evangelistic thrust. There is only that which you perceive to be your energy on the planet, getting in touch with your higher self to balance you to help everyone here. And the higher self is the key. The higher self has no gender. Your corporeal body does. We have given you some of the attributes of the system of how you come and go. The honoring of gender. So it feels good to you to be one or the other for a long term and then switch later. All of these things to make you comfortable. All of these things in a benevolent system that loves you, that sees you as you would see your children. That is because when you come to this planet, you disengage from us. That's the free will. You are specialists in this. Oh, I can't imagine it. I would weep as a piece of God to think that I would be separated from myself and I wouldn't know who I was, and to walk around on a strange planet and have to reconnect. Oh my God. And you do it so freely and so easily and for so long. And you know why I am so enamored with you. And here you are at the cusp of a revolution of energy. I've seen this before, and so have you. And now some of you are beginning to remember what it was like on other planets when this took place, when the old souls just barely passed a marker that gave them the energy they have been looking for and asking for and wanting so badly. I want to talk about angels. And I really haven't much before. I am not an angel. I'm a helper. My partner has called me a benevolent angel of the New Age. That's not right. I'm a helper. Believe me, if you saw an angel, you'd know the difference. Number one, are angels real? Absolutely. Absolutely. Number two, who or what are they? There is a system, dear ones, of benevolent help for this planet. And it's so complicated to let you in on perhaps where the angels are, what they do, how often, who they are, where they come from. But I'm going to give you some information that some of you won't like, and some of you will go, that explains it. They come when they're needed at various points for humanity and various points for humans. And they are spectacular. Not one of them is corporeal. Again, humanity has decided that when an angelic energy visits them, because it's simply beyond their perception in 3D, in order to make it work for them, they put skin and wings on them and give them a name. Put a halo, make them white, which means purity. Draw pictures of them, talk to them, report them in history. That's not what they look like. They are multidimensional beings. Moses probably got it closest with a burning bush. Fire which does not consume itself in a ball. That was an angel. What's dramatic about angelic energies is they appear when you don't expect, with a ball of energy coming at you, working through a wall or whatever, doesn't matter. Iridescence. Some looking like fire and scaring the human to death. And every single report in Scripture with an angel present, the angel said, "Fear not." Now, why would you be afraid of a beautiful woman in a halo and a white robe? Because that's not the way they look. And that is why they said, "Fear not," because they present themselves in all their beauty and their majesty, and some cannot even look upon them. Grand they are. Now, here's the part you didn't expect. They are a collective. There's no such thing as a single angel. You see it as a single angel, like you see your body as a single angel, not aware of the soup of angelic power. They speak with many voices, but they speak in your head and not in the air vibrationally. Angels do not speak to crowds. They speak individually to one human or another. And it's a collective voice of many, although you hear it as one. Now that is going to fly in the face of the next thing, but what about this angel? I know somebody who's channeling this. What about Archangel Michael? A group. A powerful group. But the next thing, you're not going to like either. There is no hierarchy of angels. None are above any other. They are the soup of God, and they're all identically majestic. And they're here on purpose, and they give messages when they should to help accelerate the benevolence and love of God in humanity. Giving messages that need to be given. Helping those who are in the hospital, who are on the edge of life and about to give up, when they'll appear and hold your hand and say, "Don't do it, because we need you." Or those who are passing over seemingly and will have a near-death experience, and they'll meet one of these majestic creatures who will take them by the hand and bring them back to the bed, and they'll awaken and they'll never forget it. That's what an angel does. Archangel Michael is a group. And it's not a hierarchical angel. It just looks that way because the messages are delivered in a specific area of importance to the planet. Probably the most quoted angel. Is that what you think is Archangel Michael? The highest of the high. It is not. And Archangel Michael will tell you, "I am one of many. All majestic, all with the love of God, all beautiful, all benevolent, all for your service." But human beings want a hierarchy. One, this one's important, this one is not as important, this one you can throw away. And you have. After all, what did you do with the mythology of Lucifer? Here was an angel that he didn't like what was going on, so he left. Which is really ridiculous. Nobody leaves the soup of God. The soup, which is the energy of spirit, is finite. It's always the same quantity, if you want to say that. There is no quantity in a quantum soup. There is only a quantification of the kinds of energy, and it stays together. It stays together like a mist that never moves out of a containment. You can't take part of it away or it wouldn't exist. And to think that one of them left and decided to go to hell is really funny. That's the truth about angels. They really all are one. What do you think of that? There are many names you give them because you feel the perception of their message and you compartmentalize them for the importance you think they carry. And that is human beings humanizing angels. They're grander than that. We've never said this before. You'll find angels all through history. No gender. They're not male. They're not female. And they're all equally as strong. And they're beautiful. And they have messages for humanity. I know who they are. I've watched them work. I want to talk about guides. Now, my partner told you that you are your own guides, and I know that you don't like that. So I'm going to complicate it even more. He's right. But I want you to put it in another perception. You have something which you have called the Merkaba or Merkaba. Loosely translated, about 8 meters wide, is a field that is quantum around your DNA, created by your DNA because it has quantum attributes that affect the spin of atomic structure. Every single human being has unique DNA, and so each field is unique. The field of the Merkaba is not your soul, it's not even your higher self, it's you, the field of your DNA. And it has a complete and totally different purpose than the interface with anything but your corporeal body. That's what it does. It interfaces with you and your consciousness. It's the only thing quantum you carry around, human being, while you're on Earth in 4D. But it's the part that when you start enhancing your DNA comes into play, because it's the bridge with an 8. I want to tell you who's in it. This field of your DNA, because it is a field of quantum DNA, also contains ready pieces and parts of your Akash. And those pieces and parts of your Akash are your guides. It's you with you, but it might be a past you with you, and so it has another face. Are you understanding this? Now there's more. Here is a system of benevolence that is so beautiful, and some of you are seeing this and you know all about it, and I'm telling you now and validating what you know, and we've given you this information before, but listen up. The Akashic family that you come in with, which you call your corporeal mother and father, sister and brother, or what you would loosely call the family or loved ones, are all part of your Akash in some way, even in remembrance. But in a quantum way, there is a reality to them that I cannot explain to you, because you are not aware of how quantum soup works. I'll use the word entangled state with your soul, and you still won't understand. It is complex, but here is the result: that when you lose a loved one in your family, especially if it's close like a child, when you lose them, they go into the Merkabah with you, and they are there for life. And when you pass over, you'll do the same with your children and your brothers and your sisters, or your mate or your husband and your wife. And I want to tell you what that means. They're never gone. Do you hear me? They're never gone. Here is a system of benevolence you didn't expect. It's real, dear ones. We are now starting to give you the complexity that you deserve to know about yourselves. And all of this, every single part, is a benevolent design to keep you peaceful and loved in the eyes of God. I'm going to close with that. Every single system that I'm ever going to give you from now on and from the time I arrived has one attribute: benevolent design. It's here to help. It's not here to push or judge. It's not here to teach, really. It's here to help. The angels only show up to help. You realize there's no angel that shows up to judge. Every time an angel shows up in your life, it's there as a guide. It knows your soul, it knows who you are, it knows your higher self. Listen, humans don't become angels. Angels don't become humans. I'm sorry if somebody's told you about that. They're specialized. And so are you. Humans begat humans, and this is what your soul does as work in the universe, as work in this galaxy. Angels are always angels, and helpers like me are always helpers like me. And this is what we want. And if you want to compartmentalize, go ahead. It's not quite that way, because it's a little bit of me and you too. That's just the way of it. Humans want to have a graduate status. You get so good at one thing and you get to be something else. It's not that way. Human souls do not come from animal souls. You don't go back into animal souls. You stay the way you are, and animal souls remain animal souls. That is another group, and we've told you that. A helpful group, a benevolent group. Some of them are here to love you, and you know I'm telling you the truth. You look in the eyes of these animals. Some of them will look at you and say, "I've been with you before." And when I'm gone, look around, because I'll be here just waiting to come back. That is a system of benevolence. Did you notice? There's something going on that you should know. The system of the universe is biased in benevolent love. And if you're an atheist or an agnostic, you can ignore it if you wish to, and you can go in the room and shut the door, and you can sing loud so we can't get through, but I'll tell you, we're there to love you anyway. And we're going to walk out the door with you anyway. So that if you ever decide to look, we'll be there. We're not going to leave just because you don't believe in us. And those of you who have decided to believe that there's more to you than the corporeal self you see in the mirror are aware of a benevolent system, especially in this energy, that's going to help you at every step, every step, every step. That's the promise. And if it doesn't look like it, that's just because you get from A to B and sometimes you go through Z. And that's just the way it is. And that's called evolutionary learning. And it's benevolent too. That's our message. Could it be any clearer? Things are not always as they seem, and these systems that you have heard about, we are now demystifying so that you'll understand the truth, the simplicity, the beauty, and the benevolence of something that is built for you, dear human being, because you, like me, are from another place. When you're not here, and those brief times when you're with us, we have a party you won't believe. And there's light all around us, and we sing in light the pineal tones that we know so well, without even a pineal around to receive them. Hard to imagine. We celebrate you home, and it's hidden from you. You don't know about it until you take your last breath, and then you remember, and then there is release. Believe me, it is the way of it. It is the love of God. And so it is.